Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're embarking on a journey into a world where the fabric of reality is maybe thinner than you might imagine, where quiet courage stands against, well, truly cosmic evil, and where one man's extraordinary gift changes absolutely everything. We're talking about a protagonist whose very name, Odd Thomas, kind of hints at his unique existence.
Right.
He's a short-order cook from this fictional town, Pico Mundo, California. But here's the hook. What if you could see the dead? Not just, fleeting apparitions, but as lingering presences, seeking resolution for the injustices that, well, stole their lives.
Yeah, that's the core of it.
And what if, unlike most people, you actually chose to do something about it? That's really the core philosophy of our hero. I see dead people, but then, by God, I do something about it. This isn't about just watching. It's active, often pretty dangerous intervention.
Precisely. We're plunging into the extraordinary Odd Thomas saga. It's a sprawling narrative that's far more than just a series of, thrilling tales. It's really a meticulously crafted exploration of the human spirit when it's faced with the truly inexplicable. Yeah. Our mission today is basically to offer you a shortcut to being incredibly well-informed. We'll try to provide a chronological understanding of Odd's life, illuminate the unique and often terrifying rules that govern his interactions with the unseen world.
Right, the rules are key.
Absolutely. We'll introduce his allies, his enemies, and there are plenty of both, and dissect the pivotal events that sculpt him from this humble cook into a reluctant, almost, you could say, saintly hero.
That's right. So expect a deep dive that extracts the most important nuggets, reveals some surprising facts you might not have picked up on, and offers those crucial aha moments, to help navigate this complex, really heartfelt, and often terrifying narrative without feeling totally overwhelmed.
Yeah, it can be a lot.
Consider this your definitive guide to one of modern fiction's most compelling figures. A man who consistently chooses compassion and courage over, well, the easy path of just looking away or giving into despair. Prepare for an enlightening journey into the heart of Odd's extraordinary world. Okay, let's start by unpacking the enigma that is Odd Thomas himself. So, on the surface, he's just a short-order cook, right? Quiet Californian town. But his name, Odd, it immediately sets him apart.
Definitely.
The stories around how he got it are almost mythical themselves, like conflicting parental explanations. Some say it was a mistake on the birth certificate. Others think it was, intentional, almost prophetic. It just gives his character this quirky, almost, destined ambiguity right from the start.
Yeah.
Yet despite all this, these unusual beginnings in his abilities, he deliberately chooses to lead a simple life. He's not after fame or fortune. He's consciously trying to manage a gift that would, frankly, crush most people.
You've hit on a really key point there. His deliberate choice for simplicity. It's not just like a preference. It's basically a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
What's fascinating is that his name, whether it was some cosmic joke or just, an admin error,
Right.
It perfectly encapsulates who he is. He is in every sense odd, but maybe more profoundly, his clairvoyance isn't just random, it's congenital. It's inherited.
From his mother, yeah.
Exactly. His mother also had the gift, but the sheer overwhelming burden of constantly seeing the unquiet dead and maybe a lack of understanding or support back then, it led to her tragic institutionalization.
Oh, wow.
And this background is absolutely crucial because it gives us the profound context for why Odd is so careful about managing his own abilities and critically why he has that proactive philosophy. He saw firsthand what happens if you succumb to the gift and it really forged his resolve.
So his mother's experience, that directly shapes his whole approach. But this creed, I see dead people, but then, by God, I do something about it. What does that truly represent beyond just like a personal motto? Is there a universal insight there about facing overwhelming burdens?
That's where the real deep dive insight lies, I think.
Right.
It's not just about having unique abilities. It's about the profound ethical choice to act when you could easily just give in to despair or, indifference. The sort of blinkest takeaway here is that Odd's heroism comes from his deliberate refusal to be a passive observer to suffering, even when that suffering is invisible to almost everyone else.
Yeah.
It challenges us, the listener, to consider our own moral obligations when we're faced with problems we might be uniquely positioned to address, no matter how daunting or unconventional they seem. It's a powerful metaphor for choosing intervention over apathy. That's a core theme that really resonates throughout his entire journey. He doesn't just endure his gift, he kind of weaponizes it for good, even if it brings him absolutely no peace.
That really reframes his whole character, doesn't it? He's not just passively receiving visions, he's a moral agent. It's a huge burden, absolutely, but His world has these very specific rules about how he interacts with the supernatural, which makes his job even more complex.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's get into the nature of the lingering dead themselves. There are spirits who refuse to move on, almost always because of unresolved injustices tied to their deaths. But the biggest challenge is that they can't speak, right?
Yeah.
How does he even figure out what they want or what happened to them?
Right, and this is a critical limitation. It basically transforms him into a spiritual detective, a silent interpreter of, well, spectral charades.
Yeah.
Since they're almost always unable to speak, Odd has to figure out their desires through what really amounts to supernatural charades, pantomime, or sometimes by psychically leading Odd toward crucial clues.
Wow, like cosmic Pictionary.
Kind of. Imagine trying to solve a murder where the victim can only point silently or mimic actions. It's this constant exercise in interpretation, empathy, and sometimes, yeah, sheer guesswork. Throughout his journey, he does gain several recurring silent spectral companions. Most notably, you get the ghosts of Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra.
Seriously, Elvis and Sinatra.
Yeah. They can't speak either, obviously, but they offer this silent support, maybe an occasional subtle gesture, or sometimes just their presence, which can be a strange kind of cryptic guidance or even comfort. It adds this unique, often funny, and unexpectedly poignant layer to his otherwise lonely quest. But it really underscores the huge challenge of communicating across the veil without a common language.
Elvis and Sinatra as spectral sidekicks. That's such a distinctive touch. It must offer moments of levity amidst all the heaviness. But Odd's world isn't all spectral celebrity cameos, is it? There's a much darker, more insidious presence that embodies pure malevolence. I'm talking about the Bodachs. Tell us about these creatures.
The Bodachs are, yeah, they're genuinely terrifying. A stark contrast to the benevolent, if silent, dead. They're described as these shadowy, hyena-like spirit creatures, utterly invisible to ordinary humans, but tragically visible to a select few, including Odd.
And what do?
They are drawn to locations of immense, impending violence and suffering. They literally feed on the fear and pain that accompany tragedy. Think of them as supernatural vultures, maybe even architects of chaos. Their appearance in large numbers is always a dire omen of a coming catastrophe, like a literal cloud of evil preceding mass death.
So they're not just drawn to suffering. They seem to almost revel in it, maybe even amplify it. But Odd has a very specific and incredibly dangerous rule about them, doesn't he? Something he learned through a horrific experience.
Yes, absolutely. And this rule creates immense tension and constant personal danger for Odd. He learned this profound and traumatic lesson in his youth. He witnessed another boy, who could also see them, make the fatal mistake of revealing his ability to others.
Oh, no.
The Bodachs seemed to instantly orchestrate an immediate and fatal accident for that boy, almost like punishing him for acknowledging their existence. Since then, Odd knows he must never let the Bodachs realize he can perceive them.
Never. Wow.
This forces him to operate in absolute secrecy. It adds this critical layer of psychological warfare to his battles. It firmly establishes the truly malevolent and orchestrating nature of these entities. They're not just passive observers of doom. They seem to be active participants, almost orchestrating the fear and pain they crave. And they absolutely cannot tolerate being seen by anyone who isn't one of them.
That's a huge detail. It ramps up the stakes significantly. He's always on guard, always acting like he doesn't see them, even when he's surrounded by them. Okay, so given these communication barriers with the dead and the silent, deadly threats from the Bodachs, how does Odd actively investigate? What's his main tool, his unique supernatural compass, if you will, to unravel these mysteries?
That would have to be psychic magnetism. It's a term actually coined by his soulmate, Stormy Llewellyn.
Ah, Scory.
Yeah. It's his innate intuitive ability to be drawn toward a person, place, or object he's concentrating on. It functions precisely as a supernatural compass, providing him with crucial direction in his investigations when tangible leads are scarce or, well, non-existent.
How does that work exactly?
Well, for example, if he sees a ghost, he can concentrate on finding the killer, and his psychic magnetism will often physically pull him towards that individual, sometimes even across, vast distances. This ability is absolutely crucial to his detective work. It acts as his primary investigative tool in so many cases and highlights his deep, almost spiritual connection to the underlying truth of the world around him. It's an essential part of his unique toolkit, letting him unravel mysteries that would otherwise remain completely baffling. It guides him like a homing beacon straight to injustice.
What a compelling foundation for a character. Okay, now let's move to the heart of Odd's early life in Pico Mundo.
Yeah.
This period is marked by, well, profound love and then just devastating loss. The emotional core of this entire saga, for me at least, begins with that fateful first meeting of Odd and Bronwyn's Stormy Llewellyn. They meet as
Yes.
teenagers at a state fair,
Well, yeah.
and it's there they encounter this mechanized fortune-telling machine, the Gypsy Mummy. And it gives them this incredibly simple, yet powerfully resonant prophecy. You are destined to be together forever.
This prophecy is, and I don't think this is an exaggeration, the bedrock of the entire series. It became the unwavering promise of an unbreakable connection for them, a preordained destiny that really shaped their bond.
Right.
Initially, they understood it as a promise of a beautiful life shared, in this world, a future woven together. However, the prophecy also contained this subtle, almost ominous warning, hinting at dark corners, sharp edges, and things no seer or soothsayer could ever anticipate.
Foreshadowing.
Absolutely. And tragically accurate foreshadowing. After Stormy's death, which we'll definitely get into, the prophecy's meaning profoundly transforms. It becomes Odd's singular source of hope and purpose, this unwavering belief that their destiny lay not in this life, but in the next, an eternal reunion beyond the veil. It's the driving force behind everything he does after the tragedy, the light guiding him through the absolute darkest moments.
So this isn't just a love story. It's a story of eternal, destined love that transcends life itself, that gives his entire incredibly arduous journey a profound, almost spiritual dimension. That's incredibly powerful. Before that tragedy, though, Odd was already doing his part as Pico Mundo's secret protector, wasn't he? The graphic novels, they serve as fantastic case files of his early methods and how he developed his unique network of allies. Tell us about some of those early cases and how they shaped him.
Yeah, these early cases, which are beautifully explored in the graphic novels, they illustrate a period where Odd's life, while inherently dangerous because of his gift, was really anchored by the unwavering love and support of Stormy. In Odd We Trust, for example, Odd is visited by the ghost of a murdered boy named Joey. And Joey, in his characteristic silent fashion, guides Odd towards his killer, a guy named Kyle Burnshaw. This case is absolutely crucial because it firmly establishes Odd's dynamic with his key allies.
Okay, who are they?
You've got Chief of Police Wyatt Porter, a pragmatic, deeply ethical man who knows about Odd's abilities and provides him with crucial, discreet official cover.
Right, the inside man.
Exactly. And then there's Stormy, who acts as his courageous, armed, and incredibly practical partner. She provides real-world backup and a grounded perspective to his supernatural senses. It's here we really see Odd developing his unique blend of spectral investigation and decisive real-world action. He's learning to navigate the legal and practical implications of his gift. He's not just seeing ghosts, he's acting on their behalf, which goes right back to his core creed.
So that early partnership with Chief Porter and Stormy was just indispensable to him becoming the hero he eventually is. Then, in Odd Is on our side, it's Halloween in Pico Mundo, and we see the Bodachs again, right? A whole swarm of them, signaling a grave threat, and a pleading ghost approaches Odd. This sounds like things are escalating.
It definitely is an escalation, and it further solidifies his role as the town's quiet guardian. This time, yeah, a massive swarm of Bodachs descends upon Pico Mundo during the, festive chaos of Halloween, a clear and dire premonition of large-scale violence.
Chilling.
Odd is approached by a pleading ghost, a victim of some unseen threat, assisted by Stormy and, yes, again, the silent ghost of Elvis Presley.
Elvis is back.
He is. Odd uncovers the sinister plot woven into the very fabric of this seemingly innocent holiday. This case not only reinforces the escalating nature of the threats he faces, even in what seems like a peaceful small town, but it also highlights his growing reliance on both his living and spectral allies. He's learning to combine their strengths to avert disaster. It's a crucial step in understanding the kind of dark, organized forces that are slowly converging on his world.
And then there's House of Odd, which sounds like it throws a curveball, almost like a deliberate misdirection.
Yeah.
Odd and Stormy are investigating a supposedly haunted mansion for their friend, the author Ozzie Boone. But the twist is that the threat isn't supernatural at all.
Exactly. This is a particularly significant case for Odd's development and his understanding of evil. While they initially suspect a lingering spirit, especially with these obnoxious TV ghost hunters complicating things with their sensationalism, the true threat is revealed to be a living, physical predator, a human monster. This demonstrates a crucial point for Odd. The evils he confronts are not exclusively supernatural. Human monstrosity is just as dangerous as any phantom, and sometimes, honestly, far more insidious because it can hide in plain sight.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a sobering realization that broadens the scope of his battles, and it's a stark reminder that some of the greatest horrors are perpetrated by living people. These early cases are foundational. They build Odd's experience, his network, his understanding of the world's hidden dangers. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have truly prepared him for the foundational trauma that was about to completely shatter his world.
And that foundational trauma is, of course, the Green Moon Mall tragedy. This event just violently shatters Odd's life when he's only 20 years old. It sets the course for the entire rest of his saga. It begins with the arrival of this strange, unsettling man whom Odd nicknames Fungus Man, followed by an unprecedented swarm of thousands of Bodachs.
This is the ultimate red flag. A terrifying omen of mass death on a scale Odd had never witnessed before. The Fungus Man, later identified as Bob Robertson, isn't just some random anomaly. He is the conduit, the catalyst for something truly horrific.
Okay.
Using his psychic magnetism, Odd uncovers this horrifying plot orchestrated by a satanic cult. Mass murder at the local Green Moon Mall using firearms and, chillingly, a truck bomb. The sheer scale and premeditation of the evil are beyond anything Odd has encountered up to this point. It forces him to confront the organized malevolence that truly exists in the world.
And Odd, with Chief Porter and his allies, they race against time to prevent this catastrophe. He manages to neutralize the primary shooters and, through incredible bravery, prevents the bomb's detonation, saving hundreds of lives. A truly heroic act, an astounding victory against overwhelming odds, but it comes at an unbearable, unimaginable cost.
The devastating blow. In the chaos of his heroic efforts during the desperate fight to save innocent lives, a stray bullet from a secondary shooter strikes Stormy.
Right.
She dies in his arms. This moment, Odd holding Stormy as her life slips away. It's not merely a plot point. It is the single most important defining moment in the entire Odd Thomas saga. It marks the definitive end of his youth, his idyllic life. It severs his connection to any kind of normal future. The loss of Stormy transforms him from a local hero into this tragic figure, consumed by a grief so profound it becomes his new compass. He is now singularly driven by the promise of their eventual reunion. The Gypsy Mummy's prophecy, "You are destined to be together forever," wasn't broken. Its meaning was simply deferred to the afterlife, becoming the guiding star for the arduous journey that lay ahead. This event fundamentally shifts his purpose, his worldview, and sets the entire course for the rest of his story. It defines his every action and sacrifice. The weight he carries from this moment forward is just immense, and it's what makes his continued heroism so incredibly poignant.
What a profound and just utterly devastating turning point. The Green Moon Mall tragedy forces Odd into this kind of exile, doesn't it? A desperate attempt to escape his grief and the ghost of the life he lost. This period is a crucible where he faces new dimensions of evil, begins to understand his larger purpose. So in Forever Odd, 6 months after Stormy's death, he's still consumed by loss, wandering aimlessly, and he gets plunged into another crisis, the kidnapping of his childhood friend, Danny Jessup.
Yeah, and this is a crucial, almost spiritual experience for Odd. It further cements his extraordinary nature and really hints at a destiny beyond ordinary human existence. Danny, who suffers from a severe bone disease, is kidnapped by this masochistic occultist named Datura.
Datura, okay.
She had learned about Odd's psychic abilities from Danny, and now she seeks to control his gift for her own dark purposes. She sees him as a tool for her malevolent rituals. Odd's psychic magnetism, which is always there, leads him to an abandoned hotel where Danny is strapped to a bomb.
Oh my God.
After disarming the device and engaging in this brutal, desperate fight with Datura and her seemingly inhuman thugs, Cheval Andre and Cheval Robert, Odd is, well, he's mortally wounded and dies.
He dies. Again. Actually dies. That's an astonishing turn, especially so early in his post-Stormy journey. But obviously he continues the saga. How does a hero overcome actual death? What happens then?
Okay, here's where it gets truly fascinating and really hints at the larger, almost divine forces at play in his universe. In a surreal sequence described in the book, his spirit briefly visits 3 friends like a final farewell. Then he is inexplicably resurrected.
Yes, resurrect.
Yeah. He finds himself alive and unharmed with absolutely no memory of how he returned from death's embrace. This is his first direct experience with death and rebirth. It's a profound moment that strongly suggests his fate is governed by powers beyond normal human comprehension.
Wow.
It hints at a larger, almost divine plan for him, one where he is not simply a man, but perhaps a pawn, or maybe more accurately, a paladin, in a much grander cosmic scheme. This experience fundamentally alters his understanding of his own mortality. It makes him both more resilient and more aware of his unique role. He might be killed, but his story, his purpose, is clearly not yet complete.
That's incredible. A literal hero's journey involving death and resurrection. After an ordeal like that, it makes perfect sense he'd seek sanctuary. So in Brother Odd, just 2 months after Datura, he retreats to St. Bartholomew's Abbey, a remote monastery, hoping for peace and, a quiet place to heal. But as we've learned, danger always seems to follow Odd.
His hope for solitude is indeed short-lived. It's a recurring pattern in his life, isn't it? The ominous appearance of Bodachs, even in this secluded sanctuary, signals that danger has trailed him once more.
Ugh, the boat eyes again.
His investigation uncovers the Abbey's dark past. It used to be a mental institution where unspeakable horrors were committed, tying past suffering to present threats. But what's profoundly significant here is that it's at the Abbey that he meets Anna Maria.
Anna Maria, okay.
She's this mysterious and preternaturally serene young woman. She possesses a deep, intuitive understanding of his nature and purpose, almost as if she knows him from somewhere beyond this life. She becomes a new anchor for Odd, a kind of spiritual guide and a key to his evolving destiny. It signals a new chapter where he's no longer entirely alone in his quest.
Interesting.
The climax sees Odd and the monks fortifying the Abbey against an impending attack from a hidden, technologically advanced adversary, which is a clear hint that the threats are escalating not just in scale, but in their sophistication, moving beyond mere cults or lone monsters.
A technologically advanced adversary at a medieval monastery, that's an unexpected and really intriguing twist. And Anna Maria, who feels like she's connected to his higher purpose somehow. Okay, next. In Odd Hours, he's 21, still reeling from the past, but now he's haunted by these vivid dreams of an all-encompassing red tide of destruction, drawing him ominously towards a place called Magic Beach. This sounds like an even greater, maybe global threat.
It absolutely marks a significant escalation. It pushes Odd from being a local guardian to becoming a protector against national, maybe even international terror. His premonitions prove terrifyingly true as he uncovers a sophisticated terrorist plot to detonate nuclear devices in several major American cities.
Nuclear devices, wow.
Yeah. During one harrowing, fog-shrouded night, Odd navigates this complex conspiracy involving corrupt local police, a sinister, well-funded organization, and this desperate race against time to prevent unimaginable devastation.
How does he even manage that?
Well, during this ordeal, he's working as a caretaker for a retired movie star, and he's still accompanied by Frank Sinatra's ghost.
Sinatra again? What does he do?
He actually provides spectral, poltergeist-like assistance, slamming doors, rattling objects, creating diversions. It's quite a memorable and funny sequence amidst the tension.
That's amazing.
Odd also reunites with a visibly pregnant Anna Maria during this time, and he feels this powerful, instinctual, almost fated duty to protect her and her unborn child. The forces against him are now clearly larger, more organized, and more technologically capable than ever before, pushing him firmly into the realm of national security threats. The sheer scale of the potential loss weighs heavily on him, especially amplified by his personal history with the mall tragedy.
Nuclear terror plots on American cities. Odd has truly stepped up to a global scale. The stakes just couldn't be higher, and it sounds like the lore keeps expanding, connecting to a wider fictional universe even. In Odd Interlude, Odd and Anna Maria stop at Harmony Corner, this quaint roadside outpost that apparently hides a profound and terrifying wrongness beneath its charming facade.
Yeah, this novella is crucial because it explicitly connects the Odd Thomas series to the wider fictional universe of its author, Dean Koontz. They discover the entire town is psychically enslaved by a non-human entity that can read, erase, and implant memories. It holds the residents in this state of perpetual smiling terror.
Smelling terror, that's creepy.
Incredibly creepy. The inhabitants are completely unaware of their horrific captivity, living this manufactured, blissful lie. What's truly intriguing is a revelation that Harmony Corner is located near Fort Wyvern, a supposedly abandoned military base that is actually the source of genetic horrors in the Christopher Snow novels, another Koontz series.
Oh, wow, a crossover.
Exactly. This crossover establishes that the threats Odd faces aren't isolated incidents. They are part of a world rife with deep-seated, scientifically engineered, and supernatural evils, often interconnected. This broadens the scope of his battles immensely. It shows this truly interconnected web of malevolence where scientific experimentation and cosmic entities actually intersect.
Wow, so he's not just fighting local ghosts or, small-time cultists. He's part of a much bigger, more complex struggle where different forms of evil are all linked.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's Odd Apocalypse, which takes him and Anna Maria to the Roseland estate. This sounds like pure sci-fi horror, completely bending reality.
It absolutely is, and it's a brilliant fusion of genres. Roseland is this magnificent, isolated West Coast estate owned by a reclusive billionaire, Noah Wolflaw. But the estate itself exists in an impossible state of flux. It's capable of shifting instantly into a hellish, war-torn landscape populated by savage, pig-like humanoid creatures.
Pig-like creatures.
Yeah. Imagine walking through a pristine garden one moment, and then, in the blink of an eye, it's a trench full of snarling, bestial soldiers. Odd learns that this nightmarish instability is due to reality-bending machinery designed decades earlier by the brilliant and eccentric inventor Nikola Tesla.
Nikola Tesla.
Seriously.
Seriously. This plunges Odd into this complex fusion of advanced science and otherworldly horror. His enemies can now wield advanced technology, distort reality itself, and conjure threats that are neither purely spiritual nor simply human evil. It expands the definition of supernatural to encompass what feels like a highly advanced, albeit misused scientific force. It really pushes the boundaries of what Odd thought was possible. The integration of Nikola Tesla. I mean, a figure whose real-world genius bordered on the fantastical, that's brilliant. But how exactly does his reality-bending machinery manifest? Is it creating alternate dimensions, twisting time, or something else entirely within the Roseland estate?
It's a fascinating blend of, speculative physics and cosmic horror that really stretches the imagination. The books describe it as a device that, through manipulation of quantum fields and maybe even subatomic particles, essentially blurs the lines of probability.
Blurs the lines of probability.
Yeah, it doesn't create entirely new alternate dimensions so much as it forces improbable, nightmarish possibilities into tangible existence within a highly localized area. So instead of just a building, you get these instantaneous, disorienting shifts to war-torn landscapes or these monstrous, pig-like creatures.
Okay, got it.
It's less about interdimensional travel and more about making the unreal terrifyingly real. It challenges Odd to fight not just evil, but the very fabric of existence itself. It pushes the boundaries of supernatural to include what feels like a highly advanced, albeit dangerously misused, scientific force. It turns a luxurious estate into this psychological and physical battlefield where the rules of reality are just constantly being rewritten.
That truly sounds like it redefines the scope of Odd's battles. Okay, so all these disparate, escalating threats from local cults to global terrorism, from psychic slavery to reality-bending tech, they must eventually lead to something bigger, right? A unified adversary. In Deeply Odd, a month after Roseland, Odd has this disturbing vision of a rhinestone cowboy murdering 3 innocent children ritualistically. This feels like the grand reveal of the ultimate enemy is coming.
This is indeed a major turning point. It clarifies the true nature of the colossal underlying evil Odd faces throughout his saga. His pursuit of the rhinestone cowboy leads him to an unexpected yet formidable alliance with Mrs. Edie Fisher.
Mrs. Fisher.
Yeah, she's described as a formidable, witty, and mysterious octogenarian. She's introduced with her reinforced limousine and an astonishing array of resources at her disposal, hinting at this powerful network operating in the shadows.
Interesting ally.
Together, they uncover the full scope of the true enemy, a vast, wealthy, and powerful devil-worshipping cult with influential members in every echelon of society. They're planning a mass sacrifice of children on a horrifying scale. This revelation connects many of the seemingly isolated evils Odd has faced, showing they are all tentacles of a single malevolent entity.
Wow, okay. And during this investigation, something absolutely unprecedented happens. A fundamental rule of Odd's world is broken. The ghost of Alfred Hitchcock, who had been appearing to Odd silently before, begins to speak to him directly. Why is that so significant? The dead are usually silent, so this must mean the rules of the universe are actually bending.
This is profoundly significant. It's a moment that confirms Odd's unique role in a larger cosmic struggle. Hitchcock, breaking his long-standing silence, explains that the rules are bending because the magnitude of the evil they face is so profound that higher powers are intervening to give Odd a fighting chance.
Higher powers, like divine intervention.
Exactly. This reveals that Odd is not alone in the universe. Higher, perhaps divine powers are on his side, subtly guiding him or even breaking their own established rules when the stakes become truly cosmic, when pure evil threatens to overwhelm the world. This event confirms a single, organized, explicitly satanic adversary behind many of the previous, seemingly disparate evils Odd has encountered. It sets the stage for the ultimate confrontation, solidifying Odd's role as a chosen instrument, a true paladin. He successfully infiltrates the cult's headquarters and rescues the children, but now he knows the full scale of the war he's fighting and that he has allies beyond the veil of our understanding.
With the enemy finally unmasked as this vast, organized satanic cult, and Odd now aware of higher powers at play, his journey culminates in the final book, Saint Odd. This feels like a real full-circle moment, doesn't it? 21 months after Stormy's death, Odd is driven by a prophetic dream to return home, back to Pico Mundo.
It absolutely brings his journey full circle, a return to the origin point of his deepest wound and his most profound love. His prophetic dream of Pico Mundo drowning in a torrent of water and blood is this undeniable visceral call home, a premonition of final catastrophe.
Yeah.
He returns, fittingly, to the Mojave Desert on a motorcycle, relentlessly pursued by members of the same satanic cult he confronted. They are planning a final, catastrophic act of terror, one that will dwarf even the Green Moon Mall massacre. It's a multi-pronged attack involving the town's dam and the crowded annual carnival.
Oh my God, the dam and the carnival.
Yeah. This is the ultimate test. The accumulated experience of his exile, his battles against diverse evils, his spiritual growth, it's all brought back to protect the place where his life was shattered and where he found his soulmate.
So all his allies, his found family that he's gathered along the way, they reunite for this final desperate stand. Chief Wyatt Porter, Ozzie Boone, Anna Maria, Mrs. Edie Fisher, everyone coming together to fight alongside him against this ultimate evil.
Exactly. Upon his return, Odd reunites this diverse group of allies, his found family, forged through shared purpose and peril. They now form the final line of defense for Pico Mundo. The narrative becomes this relentless, high-speed chase across Pico Mundo, a race against time and overwhelming odds, as Odd and his allies dismantle the cult's intricate and murderous plan piece by agonizing peace.
Wow.
It's the ultimate test of his accumulated experience, his courage, and the strength of the bonds he has forged against an enemy that has been building towards this for years. He prevents the destruction of the dam and saves the town from annihilation, showcasing the full measure of his courage, his dedication, and the love that fuels his every action.
What a climax. But as we know, Odd's journey has always been tied to sacrifice. In the process of saving the town after averting the final cataclysm, he's mortally wounded. And as he dies, his spirit rises. This is the moment we've been building to, isn't it? The ultimate fulfillment of the Gypsy Mummy's prophecy.
This is indeed the moment, the sacred reunion and the ultimate triumph that recontextualizes all his suffering. As he dies, his spirit rises, and he is finally joyfully reunited with the waiting spirit of Stormy Llewellyn.
Together forever.
Exactly. The Gypsy Mummy's prophecy, you are destined to be together forever, is at last understood and fulfilled, not in this earthly life, but in the eternal. What's profoundly beautiful and deeply moving here is how his painful journey on Earth is recontextualized. It was, as Stormy always believed this life to be, a boot camp, a series of trials he had to endure to earn his peace and his ultimate reward.
Wow, boot camp.
Yeah. His death is presented not as a tragedy but a triumph, the successful completion of a sacred duty. Through his unwavering courage, his compassion, and his ultimate sacrifice, the simple fry cook becomes, in the end, Saint Odd. It's a powerful and bittersweet conclusion, providing profound closure and meaning to all his suffering and confirming the spiritual nature of his battles and his ultimate eternal reward.
What an incredible, epic journey. Okay, so with such a rich, expansive saga, it's only natural that Hollywood would come calling eventually. There was a 2013 film adaptation of Odd Thomas based on the first novel, but this isn't like a direct continuation of the books. It's more of a distinct and self-contained entry, right?
You're absolutely right. The 2013 film, directed by Stephen Sommers, it stands as a distinct and self-contained entry in the Odd Thomas canon. It's the only official cinematic interpretation of the foundational story, meaning the first novel, Odd Thomas, rather than any attempt to encapsulate the entire saga. It offers a different visual way to experience the origin story, separate from the rest of the literary saga. While it's largely faithful to the core plot of the first novel, capturing its unique blend of horror, quirky humor, and heartfelt romance, The inherent constraints of a feature film meant significant condensation.
Had to cut stuff out.
Exactly. Odds investigation into the fungus man is streamlined for pacing, and several supporting characters and subplots from the original novel are either reduced or eliminated entirely to fit the runtime. It's really a snapshot, a focused lens just on the beginning.
That makes perfect sense. Films always have to condense the material.
Yeah.
But what about bringing Odd's unique world to life visually? Casting is so crucial for such a beloved character. How did they do with Anton Yelchin as Odd, and the rest of the cast who had to embody these iconic figures?
The film's casting was actually widely praised. It was a notable success in what was otherwise a pretty troubled production. Anton Yelchin's portrayal of Odd was particularly acclaimed. Director Stephen Sommers even stated Yelchin was his only choice for the role.
Really? Only choice?
Yeah. Yelchin truly captured the character's blend of world-weary wisdom, self-effacing humor, and deep-seated morality. He brought this nuanced vulnerability and quiet strength to the role. The palpable chemistry between Yelchin and Addison Timlin, who played Stormy Llewellyn, effectively conveyed that deep, destined love that is so central to the story. It made their bond feel genuine.
Nice.
And Willem Dafoe provided a strong performance as Chief Wyatt Porter, embodying that gruff yet empathetic surrogate father figure who anchors Odd to the world of law and order. He was a great grounded presence amidst all the supernatural chaos.
That's high praise for the cast. And I'm always curious how visual mediums tackle the unseen creatures from books. How did the film bring the terrifying Bodachs to life, for example, or Odd's psychic magnetism?
Well, as a visual medium, the film gave definitive form to many of the novel's supernatural concepts that were previously left to the reader's imagination. The Bodachs are a great example. The film realized them as shimmery, translucent, and insectoid predators.
Insectoid. Okay.
Yeah, their CGI forms subtly, yet menacingly clambering over scenes of impending doom, only visible to Odd. This effectively visualized the silent, ever-present threat they represent, making them tangible for the audience.
Right.
Stephen Sommers, who's known for his visually dynamic and effects-driven style from films like The Mummy.
Oh yeah, The Mummy.
He certainly brought a kinetic energy to the film's action sequences. He translated the novel's suspense and Odd's physical challenges into a tangible, often fast-paced, on-screen spectacle. The film also found clever ways to visualize psychic magnetism, often through subtle camera movements or Odd's focused gaze, guiding the audience along with him.
So it sounds like it was actually a pretty good adaptation in terms of capturing the spirit of the book, especially with strong casting and visuals.
Yeah.
But it never got sequels, did it? Despite the saga being so rich, what happened with its release and legacy?
Yeah. The film's journey to release was, unfortunately, fraught with significant difficulty, largely external to the creative process itself. Production was completed way back in 2011, but a series of costly legal battles among the producers over marketing funds delayed its release for years.
Oh, legal battles. Never good.
Never good. Consequently, it received only a very limited theatrical run in some territories and was largely released direct-to-video. This prevented it from finding a wide audience or building the momentum needed for sequels.
Oh, okay.
Critical reception was mixed. Some praised its charm and faithfulness, while others found its tone uneven, partly due to the challenge of balancing Koontz's unique blend of horror, humor, and romance in a film format.
Right. That's a tough balance.
It is. So due to its commercial failure and the lack of any sequels, it exists as a standalone piece, a kind of parallel canon. It's a faithful but condensed interpretation of the origin story, separate from the expansive and continuing narrative of the literary saga. It remains a compelling snapshot of the beginning of Odd's journey, but it just doesn't encompass the broader, more complex lore developed across the 7 novels and the graphic stories. It's really a testament to how external factors can profoundly shape a work's reach and legacy, even when the core creative elements are strong. #outro.
What an incredible, often heart-wrenching journey we've taken today. From the quiet life of a short-ordered cook with an unwanted inherited gift, through devastating personal loss, to becoming this paladin confronting cosmic evil, Odd Thomas's entire existence was driven by a love that truly transcended life itself. His story is just such a powerful reminder that heroism isn't about grandiosity, but about the consistent choice to act with compassion, even when you're terrified.
Absolutely. Odd Thomas's saga is a profound exploration of these enduring themes. Love that knows no bounds, the power of sacrifice, unwavering purpose in the face of overwhelming evil, and the ultimate idea of destiny. His story is a testament to the fact that heroism can be found in the most unassuming of individuals, that even the simplest among us can be called to the greatest battles, becoming in essence a saint through their deeds.
And it leaves us with this thought, maybe for you, listener, to mull over. Odd Thomas learned that to truly see, sometimes you need to look beyond the ordinary, beyond what's comfortable, and embrace a certain oddness in your perspective. His journey asks us to consider, what hidden duties might we all have just by being present in the world if only we dare to look a little oddly at what's around us? What injustices, great or small, might be calling for our intervention, even if maybe no one else can see them? We highly encourage you to delve into the books to experience the full chronological depth and emotional resonance of the saga, or maybe watch the film for a vivid visual interpretation of his powerful origin story.